last video, we talked about whether climate change was your fault.
Yeah.
Not mine.
Concluded that it's not.
Oh, and we concluded that it's not your fault. But, and then we talked about individual actions and collective actions and holding businesses and governments to account. Okay, so this video, we're going to talk about individual actions, even though in the last video we said that that's not the be all and end all.
Okay, cool.
So, did you know? Actually, you do know this because you told me about the survey, and then I looked it up. So,
you read the actual thing, though. Yeah.
Came out last year about how New Zealanders and people around the world perceive actions against climate change and what they think about climate change and all of this.
Yeah.
And it came out that New Zealanders, as well as everyone else around the world, thinks that recycling is going to have a really big impact on emissions.
Yeah.
It's not.
It's not at all.
So,
it's like the least useful thing.
Yeah, and there was a report just recently that showed that plastic companies have been lying about whether recycling is ever actually economically viable. And they knew that it was not. This is just like the one last week where the ExxonMobil ran the report on climate change and how that it was catastrophic and irreversible and carried on anyway and covered up the data. Well, plastic companies have been covering up the data that recycling plastic is never going to be economically viable. So
that's massive.
And yet we think
that's the biggest thing.
That's the biggest thing. So guilt over recycling is completely pointless.
Yeah.
But there are some things that have a much bigger impact. So there was a report, a scientific paper that was put out, and I went through it and made it into like stuff normal people can understand, including
us. Of course
us.
you did. Okay,
yeah.
Cool.
The number one thing that people can do to have the biggest positive impact, this is in consumption. Okay, so this is not counting activism. It's not counting or petitioning your government. This is just like consumption. So firstly, about 2/3 of global greenhouse gases are directly and indirectly linked to household consumption, which is heaps.
Man, that's more than I thought it would be. Yeah. Okay.
So the biggest thing that you can do is to rethink your car.
Yeah.
So the little bubbles around the outside are the things that this report has shown to be most valuable. And then they're all still valuable, but in decreasing things. And there's a bit of repetition because living car-free involves all of these things.
Oh, yeah, because then you'd have to take public transport.
Yeah, and you'd use your car less because you don't have a car and you do active transport.
Yeah.
So the way we get around is really, really important.
That's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's hard because this is a thing that also ties into government and local government and companies. Yeah. Because like where we live in New Zealand, it's really, really hard to be car free.
It's infrastructure.
Because we're not like, we don't live in an apartment in New York and be able to walk and take the subway and or whatever.
Yeah. You just never need a driver's license.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like we live out in suburban some of us, and urban sprawl, and there's no like they're putting in separated cycle paths in Christchurch, but there's a lot of cars and not many cycle paths, and the buses
take an hour to get anywhere.
So this is really hard, but there's things you can do like maybe drive to work with your bike and then bike home, and the next morning bike in and then drive home. Or even if you just bike one day a week. Like using your car less doesn't mean necessarily that you have to live car free.
Yeah.
If everyone just biked or took the bus or worked from home, if you can, obviously not everyone can do all of these things, but one day a week would make a massive difference than like one person going completely car free.
Yeah, because isn't there a thing, I don't remember the details, but that most of the car trips are like less than a couple of kilometres.
I think it's less than 2 kilometres.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is doable.
It's interesting, eh?
I think the thing is not to think that you have to do everything by bike or everything by bus or everything by walking.
Or that you're responsible for all of the things.
No, you don't have to bike in the winter. If you drive in the winter and bike in the summer, then that's awesome.
Yeah. It's half. Yeah.
It doesn't have to be
That's
all or
interesting.
nothing.
Yeah.
So that's the first one.
Cool.
Okay.
I
Second
like
one.
it.
So this is the biggest thing is rethinking your car.
Right.
The next biggest thing is flying less.
Yeah.
And I looked at this and I was like, what do they mean by less?
Yeah.
So
everybody's flying is different.
and this is not a New Zealand report.
Right.
So one less long haul flight. Long haul counts for over 6 hours. So there's not many places you can get from New Zealand that are less than 6 hours.
Oh yeah, international. It's any international.
We can only
flight.
go like to the very edge of Australia.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
So
Melbourne.
one less medium haul and less air transport in general. But as you and I have worked out, in New Zealand, if you want to go to the North Island, it's this because we have driving and a ferry, industrial ferry, and then driving.
Yeah.
It's the same carbon emissions to do that as it is to fly. So, and in New Zealand, like we were talking about, like if we want to go to a conference in Auckland, and like if we were in another country, like a European country or somewhere else, you would just get on a train and you would go from Edinburgh to London or something and go to your conference and go back again.
Yeah.
But we have no way of getting to Auckland in a reasonable amount of time other than flying.
Yeah, it's it instantly limits anybody in the South Island, essentially.
Yeah. Lucky there's not many people in the South Island, though. So
I know, but we are. So we can't go to any conferences.
we are at the bottom of the world with a few other people.
We have to carefully choose which conferences and events we go to.
And it'd be nice if they were virtual, but on the other hand, then you don't get any like actual community and things.
Yeah,
so
it's not the same.
So this is quite hard. Apparently, one less for Americans was like 1 to 2 a year long haul, and Europeans was like 3 to 4. I'd need to just check that.
Okay,
I didn't write that down. So, but I was thinking. So, I mean, we're not taking 3 to 4 flights a year.
I haven't taken any long haul flights for a long time, but when I did take a lot of them. I probably got like my life's worth.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of Kiwis take one and then stay some overseas for a couple of years.
Oh yeah, if you're going to go anywhere from New Zealand, you make it a big trip. You can't pop anywhere.
Yeah, so I would conclude that we don't actually fly very often, and we would take a train if there was one, but there is not.
Yeah, there's only so many options. I think for flying less.
That's for other people.
Yeah,
people in other countries. This is your thing.
Yeah, access to more stuff. Yeah.
Okay, so but that is the second biggest thing. Okay. The third biggest thing is energy. Okay. So using renewable energy, number one, which we're both doing. Yep. The second one is refurbishment and renovation. So that is things like putting insulation in your house. Yeah. If you're building a house, making it more energy efficient, double glazing. I backed my curtains with thermal liners, and that's good because you can take them with you if you're renting. Yeah. And what else?
What's renewable heating?
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's to do with like not burning oil, not burning coal. Those would be non-renewable heating.
Yeah.
So
fireplaces.
Well, in New Zealand, that's good because it's from pine and other introduced species. We're not cutting down natives to burn. So that's good.
Yeah.
Passive house. If you were to build a house,
that'd be cool.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
And then producing your own energy and your own heating. So solar shower, like not solar shower, but solar pipes. Yeah. Or solar panels.
Yeah.
Or a windmill.
Oh.
I mean, maybe you could get a windmill.
That sounds fun.
And then less living space.
Yeah.
So in the 1970s, the house size in New Zealand was like 140 square meters, and now it's like 250 or something. It's massive. And
two lounges,
walk-in wardrobes. Yeah. Walk-in pantries.
Yeah.
What else? En suites. 2-car garages.
Heaps of room that's not getting used.
Yeah. Yeah.
I need to go stand in the corner. Make sure you're using all of the space.
Yeah, if you haven't used it in 6 months, throw it out.
Chop it off.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
So yeah, that's pretty important because the bigger your house, the more you're heating it and cooling it and all of those things.
Yeah.
Co-housing, I guess, means us all not living individually.
Each having a thing, each having our own things.
Our own massive house.
Yeah. But that's hard on a day-to-day if you've got children and like...
Exactly. It's kind of... I
guess if you're an
introvert. I guess it's just, that's more of a cultural thing because some cultures live more multi-generational and ours lives very individualistic.
We're quite autonomous.
Yeah. So better insulation, hot water saving, so like shorter showers.
Heating, what's it called, overnight?
Yeah, insulating the pipes.
Yeah.
Do all of that stuff. That's quite good.
Using your cylinder cover to dry your washing.
Yeah.
Well,
except if your cylinder was well insulated.
You wouldn't need to. Oh, yeah. Of course.
And then more efficient appliances and lower room temperature. So
yeah. Instead of having it at like 28, set off for a comfortable 25.
Yeah. That's pretty warm. I was going to say 23 and 22, 22 or 21. So there's obviously...
Some people have them at 28, though. I've been in flats where they're just like in a singlet.
Wow, that's hot.
Yeah. With no insulation because it was interneated too.
Yeah. I mean, we shouldn't be living in... Like, lots of New Zealand houses are really cold. Yeah. And you can scrape the ice off the window. So it's not that.
So heat
We don't need to do that.
Yeah.
But if it was an insulated house... I mean, we should not be here living in houses that grow ice.
Yeah, that's not a thing. That's
ridiculous. That should never be a
Mushrooms
thing.
On the inside.
Yeah, no. We need a healthy house that's not too hot.
Yeah, that's just right.
Yeah. So that's energy. So that's a big one.
Cool.
And then the last one is food. One thing you could do is have a vegan diet.
Okay.
Followed by vegetarian.
Cool.
Okay. So all of the food things tend to revolve around meat because meat's super high in carbon. Yeah, lower carbon meats. So that's so I think it's like chicken is at the lowest, and then like pork and bacon and things, and then I'm not sure about processed meats, but anyway, and then lamb, and then cows. So beef is like the most high.
And it's meat. Because of all the resources to grow them, look after them.
Yeah.
Okay. So smaller is better.
Yeah. And it's also not about, like, you don't have to go fully vegan or fully vegetarian.
Yeah.
So you can, like, meatless Mondays, you know, or not eating meat 3 meals a day.
Yeah.
Just 1 meal a day.
Yeah, because I guess if everybody had a meat-free day or meal or whatever, instead of one person going vegan.
Yep.
And then it's like a bigger cultural shift as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And being vegetarian doesn't mean that you, I mean,
it's quite easy these days.
It is easy these days. And it doesn't matter if you eat meat now and again. Like, it's not like it's all or nothing.
Yeah.
For some people it's all or nothing.
Yeah, I do that. I identify as a vegetarian and then I eat meat if I need to for health reasons.
Yeah. And it's not about, you know, shaming people because they say they're vegetarian and then once they ate some meat, like, this is not the issue.
No. Yeah, that's interesting. Okay.
Organic food.
Yeah, cool. That's heaps more accessible now as well, eh?
Yep. There's organic butcher not far from here.
Yeah.
Mediterranean diet.
Yeah.
Sounds pretty yummy.
Yes, please. Feta.
Yum. Lamb, olives, peppers.
Nobody's complaining
about that. And it makes you want to be on holiday in the Mediterranean.
It does. It's like you can just like conjure it, manifest.
Have one less flight.
Yeah.
I'm going to take my one flight to the Mediterranean. Growing all or some of your own food. Well, it's not really all of it, is it? Some of it, whatever grows in your garden.
Yeah, I'm really good at growing mint. You can have some if you want.
I've got mint.
I think everybody's got mint.
How many recipes have you mastered with?
I mean,
mint is the
mint
main.
in lots of things. Mint sauce, maybe. Can use up a lot of it, but I need to trade and barter.
Yeah, so not all of these things are for everyone.
It's not for me, Helen. It's not for me.
Well, you can get local or regional food. So a lot of food, and I mean, it depends what you call it. Like regional, the most fruit and veggies in New Zealand are grown in New Zealand, so we're lucky for that. We don't have things coming from around the world except for like grapes and bananas and
bananas
exotic
are great,
things.
Aren't they?
Yeah.
I went to the veggie place the veggie shop the other day and was blown away by how much better the apricots were than the supermarket. I was like, oh yeah, it's worth it just for the taste, and all of the other benefits.
Yeah. So reducing food waste.
Yeah.
That is pretty important. And then there's some other things. More efficient appliances, that's not meant to be in there. That was on the previous slide.
I can't say it anyway because I don't have my glasses
that's
on.
just to check you're paying attention.
I am.
Good. And then what else? We've got food sufficiency. I mean, there's not many people who are going to, that's pretty much a full-time job growing your own food. Yeah. So it's not
realistic.
Not realistic.
Everyone to be doing that.
It'd be much better for us all to be like vegetarian or partly vegetarian than for one person to grow all their own food.
Trying to grow their own cow.
Yeah, and we've got to go to work and do other jobs. So that's, and then, last, it's not even, I mean, I didn't even put it in the circle properly because it's less processed food and alcohol.
Yeah.
And I think
that doesn't even count.
I think it'd be better to do lower carbon meats and vegetarian, personally.
Fair enough. Touche.
Yeah. So those are the things that are really important for reducing carbon when it comes to your consumption. And you'll see that recycling is not there.
Oh, yeah.
So in the paper, in the 62 things, guess where recycling was?
Somewhere really low down.
Yeah, second to last.
Okay. What was last?
Switching to a fuel cell vehicle.
I don't know what that means.
I don't 100% know what that means either. I don't think that's an option.
Okay.
So let's just say
recycling
is last.
Okay.
And that's
interesting
because, like we were saying, it's not actually a thing.
Just an excuse to carry on.
It's an excuse to carry on making plastics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what we should be doing is riding our bike
to the supermarket or wherever. I need to get my bike out.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. That's a really interesting. It's really useful having them broken down like that.
Yeah, it makes it easier to see what is important, and the paper looks like that. It's a lot easier
to understand than that, to be honest.
Yeah.
This is great science.
Excellent science.
Not really accessible.
No, it's been a long time since I learned what these things specifically mean.
Confidence intervals.
Exactly. And I did take a bit of highlighting and crossing things out and splitting it into little 10 sections.
Oh, that's yours.
Yeah, because it was just like a massive list. So,
well, thank you.
You're welcome. I made it more pretty.
Yeah, I appreciate the pretty pictures.